While many love the Great Lakes for this, there are many who look forward to this. And that excitement over the Great Lakes winter season will be there as long as there is ice. But for someone like Chuck Militello, who's been on the bay since the late 1970s, it's hard to ignore how things have changed over the year.
We used to drive our vehicles out there, full-size vans and trucks, and we used to go out 7, 8, 9 miles. And now you don't do that anymore. It just doesn't happen. We don't get the cold and long winters where we get the thickness of the ice across the whole Saginaw Bay. So we use quads and snowmobiles, so there's definitely a big difference.
According to new research from Climate Central, although there are still high coverage years, our annual maximum ice coverage on the Great Lakes is 22% lower on average compared to 50 years ago, with years of low ice cover becoming more frequent. That trend makes yearly ice more difficult to rely on for small business owners like Chuck, who owns Chucky's Bait and Tackle in Essexville.
Yeah, it's very unpredictable. We used to be on by Christmas every year. We did a big business with all the schools being out for Christmas time. We don't get that anymore. Now it's end of January, middle of January. Sometimes it's the 1st of February before we get any ice.
According to Dr. Catherine O'Reilly from Illinois State University, our temperatures are the main culprit for this declining trend.
As the globe is warming, right, winter is one of the fastest warming seasons. And so for lakes, that is mostly manifest in having shorter ice cover. And so these lakes are just having shorter and shorter winter ice cover, and this can be as short as a week or as short as a month.
So how have our temperatures changed over the years? Well, compared to 1970, our average winter temperatures in the TV5 viewing area are 3 to 4 degrees warmer than that time. We're spending more days above normal, fewer nights below freezing, and we're even seeing a rising trend in our lowest temperature recorded each winter. While these rises in temperatures may not seem all that significant on the surface, with just a few degrees of warming over time, there are some consequences to this declining ice trend. The first, lake effect snow. That might become more common. We know our main ingredients for that. We need open and warm water. We also need some cold air to go above that warm water and allow those clouds to grab onto some of that moisture to produce the lake effect snow. We know the end result. As that air moves inland, it dumps a significant amount of snow if we have the right setup. But the less ice that we have, the longer that lake effect season goes, and possibly more lake effect snow. Although lake effect snow is nothing new and the thought of more of it may excite some, James Kessler, a physical scientist at NOAA, pointed to an existing issue along the lakeshore that could be exacerbated by that same area of open water.
These big winter storms, there are basically large waves that get damped out by the ice cover. That's the ice cover that's land fast, it's along the shore. So that ice basically protects the shoreline from these big waves. So the combination of having low ice cover with very high water levels is really potentially disastrous for coastal erosion, both the natural shoreline as well as property that's along the shoreline.
And in addition to the lack of ice, warmer temperatures and more dramatic temperature swings throughout the season lead to a bigger safety concern for the ice that does develop.
It does decrease the stability of the lake ice. The warmer the average winter is, the more likely people are to actually drown. So we need to be a little bit more careful about really checking the ice thicknesses to make sure that it's actually safe to go out on.
The science and numbers can be overwhelming, and these trends may be hard to visualize for those who don't spend a lot of time on the ice. But it's important to remember the economic cost for our neighbors remains high if these trends don't change.
It definitely affects your revenue because you got a shorter span to take in the same amount of money, and it just don't happen.
But despite the trends, as long as there's ice, business owners like Chuck will still be there for those headed out for the next big catch. And the message from him remains the same.
You still got to be careful, have a lot of common sense, and have all your safety equipment with you and be safe.
Now, it is worth noting that while 5 of the lowest years have occurred within the last 15 years, we've also seen 3 of our highest years of ice coverage within the last 15 years as well. There will be still years of high ice coverage, but it's the downward trend over time that what seems to have the experts most concerned.